Welcome to Rhythm of Love, the podcast. I'm Clarence.
And I'm Yalonda. We celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary by writing a book together about what it took to get us here.
And in this podcast, we go deeper and break down what we learned along the way. We hope you enjoy and engage.
Comment, share, and subscribe. We'd love to hear what you have to say about what it takes to make relationships last.
Yes, we will. Welcome to Rhythm of Love, the podcast, episode 10. Episode 10. We're into double digits. Eventually, we'll get to triple digits, but we'll see. Oof, that's a lot.
Triple digits.
It's a lot.
Slow down.
It was a lot to get to 9. It was a lot to get to 10.
Yes.
So
yes,
we appreciate everybody who's been hanging in with us for the last few weeks and going through and checking out the videos we're getting. We appreciate you if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or any of the other platforms. All we ask is that you like and subscribe and comment and those types of things.
Yes.
I'm Clarence.
I'm Yalonda.
And we wrote a book about
our relationship
called The Rhythm of Love, 25 Things That 25 Years of Marriage Has Taught Us. And you can order it online. It might be helpful if you want to use it to kind of work along with the chapters and different pieces that we are discussing, because really this podcast stems from discussions that we had in that book. So we hope that you have yourself a copy. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it's available in all major book outlets.
Correct.
It's also available in audiobook.
Correct.
And ebook.
Correct. Oh, yes. She's 100% correct. So pick yourself up a copy.
Pick up copies for your friends. They make great anniversary gifts, great engagement gifts.
Sure.
Yeah. Mother's Day, Father's Day. Father's Day is just passed. It's not too late.
It's not too late.
But also we want to thank folks who have been just contacting us personally as well about how the podcast has been touching them and getting them having conversations with their mates, whether they're married or not. So we're really excited that our intention, which is to get people started talking about these topics and their relationships, that it's happening. So again, welcome to episode 10. Today we're going to be talking about expectations. And I think that expectations fall into 3 categories, or at least the expectations that you have for your mate can fall into 3 categories. I think, and I'm going to say them I'm trying to say them in a positive way. I wrote them down in a negative way, but why should I say them negatively? So there's spoken expectations. There are realistic expectations, and there are properly placed expectations.
Sure.
That you have for your spouse. But I want to ask Clarence, or you can bat it back to me if you like, if you need a moment to think about it. Since we the way we set up talking is that we start kind of with the problem and then move to the solution.
Okay.
So I am going to turn back those categories into negative categories and see if there's anything that we had to learn about expectations along our journey. So were there any expectations in any of these categories? Unspoken, unrealistic, or misplaced expectations that you have had for me somewhere along the way?
So I'm sure,
or even for yourself, that counts too.
I mean, the simple answer is yes. And I mean, it's a very simple answer. Sure, I think that they were in both places, and when I say both places, I mean
of
with myself and
of me.
Of you. So I had never categorized them or thought about them in the way you are describing them. But I'm sure. I mean, we had a whole talk a couple weeks ago about sex, which is all about expectations of what we thought it would be.
Yeah.
And then we've also had conversations. We haven't had specific conversations about marriage per se, but certainly we have had conversations about gender roles and those expectations, and then misplaced expectations. I don't know that I had any specific misplaced expectations that I thought you would do something or you would provide me with something that I really should have been looking for from some other place or from some other source. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I know that those first two, where you're talking about unrealistic and what was the other one?
And unspoken.
Those were definitely two that we've already that we went into a lot of depth on. We can talk about them again at a high level if you want, but that's fine.
Okay.
But
do you think so? You think they revolved around sex, or you just mean in general in the other episodes?
In general, the if you want to give an example,
sure.
The sex episode is a full-on example of unrealistic and maybe even unspoken expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Full on into those categories. So we didn't know that we didn't know. I feel like Donald Rumsfeld a little bit here to
the known unknowns,
the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. Listen. For my poli-sci people out there, that's a political reference if you don't know who Donald Rumsfeld is. So, but that's what I think, those things stemmed around. I think you can boil down, if you really want to boil it down,
mm-hmm.
Your dad even said it, in his thing about, sex and money are really the two things where you have real expectations from the other person.
Yeah.
And where you think they will behave or they should behave in a certain way. And so you have, expectations of them, and some of those expectations might be unreasonable considering the person.
Right. If your spouse is making $75,000 a year and you expect to be wined and dined at the most expensive restaurants and taking on trips to Fiji,
then you need a time machine.
Got unrealistic expectations.
I mean, if this was the 50s,
you might be able to get that.
You get all that in the 50s. So, I mean, So there's a ton of hot takes online that people have around those things,
Yeah, we see that a lot.
We see that a lot.
Yeah.
You see things like, especially around money. So
mm-hmm.
when we got married, I told her not from the beginning. We had an argument one time very early on where my wife, who was a bit of a shopaholic at the time, she's not nearly as bad now.
It's been.
But she was a bit of a shopaholic at the time.
From my soul.
And at the time, she wasn't working. She was in school, and I'm the one working. And I'm saying, you can't go out here and spend money this way, especially when you're not bringing any money in. And we had it was an argument. I'm not sure. I think it was a pretty big argument. But at the end of that argument, the next day when we kind of made up and we kind of, tried to come to some middle ground, I said to you, I will never use money as a weapon against you again. And, that was 27 years ago.
And never have.
Right. Because it was an unrealistic expectation from me, because I had to realize that it's kind of a joint money thing. So, we didn't have, you were with Wachovia, if you remember that bank. I had the Bank of America, you had Wachovia.
Wachovia, because, that was based out of North Carolina where we live.
Yeah. So
I believe.
that was the bank that you were with. So
And
we consolidated.
I was not making money. I mean, I was getting whatever living expenses came back after my tuition and all of that was paid. But
which is all
you get
loan
that
money.
one time, and right?
It's
all
still
money that has to be paid back, and it only comes one time. It's not like a monthly thing or something like that.
So we basically moved in a direction of one checkbook, one bank account,
yes,
all monies, and that worked for us. I'm not saying it worked for everybody, but that's what worked for us. So
and I think, did we start that then, or at some point we started to have like our play money? I guess probably not then, because really, what money did we have to play with?
Right, right.
At some point
we didn't have no side money.
Yeah, maybe when I got a full-time job, it's probably when we did, where we each were taking a chunk of our check, a small chunk, and putting it away.
I would call it a sliver.
A sliver.
Before I would call it a chunk. I would definitely call it a sliver and not a chunk.
That's probably right.
But
just
a few $100
right.
a paycheck to say, let's slide this off to the side. And this is what you work from.
You play with, and the bills and stuff.
Everything that needs to be paid get paid out of the main account, and that lasted for a while. But then that fizzled. Well, it lasted for a while. It fizzled out for me.
I don't know why. You could have left it, but then, now that I'm working again, it probably fizzled out when I left work, and I was no longer had a paycheck.
Sure.
So maybe you felt some type of way about putting money to the side just for yourself.
I don't know.
Well, you was like, I'm making all this money anyway. But
I don't.
Whatever the case was,
I don't.
At this point, now that I'm working again,
you got side money.
I do have my play money, and that's really basically why, because I do want some autonomy in terms of my spending. If we have a joint account, then everything I spend or you spend, impacts the other person more greatly than having your own account to the side.
It's a very interesting.
Because you got stuff to say.
It's just a very interesting perspective on it, because legitimately, I see your point. Mm-hmm. So let me acknowledge that I see your point. But everything you spend impacts the other person. Everything. To me.
Right. And that's why I didn't say it didn't impact you. I just said to a lesser extent, it impacts you, because the bank account you're looking at every day, checking to see where we are, calculating against whatever bills got to come out, blah, blah, blah. That's the account that you're mainly going to focus on. Whereas my little spending over here on my side account, it's not impacting the bills. It's not impacting, our savings. It's just, a little something coming off the top for the lady.
It's so wild.
Sorry.
You're so wild. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. So don't. It's not a question of that I mind.
I know
in any way, shape, in any way, shape at all.
It's not even right. It's not even like that is factoring in at all.
No,
I know.
I mean, but I think it's really the. I think really the side money or your side account doesn't bother me, because you just let me do all I need to do on the other side.
Oh yeah.
Meaning because
you don't have a side account,
Not even because I don't have a side account, but because I manage the household budget. Mm-hmm. And and it's not that you couldn't manage it. It's something that you have relinquished to me,
you.
And for the most part, you don't think about it. You just turn lights on.
No, I mean,
you just turn lights on. You just start that car up, and you just drive away.
That is untrue.
That's
untrue.
That's not true.
No, I make sure I get a text every morning with the amount of money that we have in the account.
But if you don't know the amount that got to go out, what difference do it make? Does you know what's in it?
I do know what has to go out. I see the bills coming through. I know in general terms the dates that things are due and all of that.
Do you really?
Yes.
Okay. If you say so,
I'm saying in general terms, like don't quiz me. Like
I'm not gonna quiz you.
Bill.
I'm not gonna quiz you.
But I do see the bills and I do pay attention to where we are. And if I don't know, if I'm looking at the account, I'm like, this is more money than I expect us to have. I'll be like, did you make a transfer, or is there something we're expecting to be paying? I will check in with you.
That is true.
And see what the case is.
All right. So, okay.
And let the record show that the level of spending that you're talking about is nothing. It is
pales in comparison
to what I could be spending. No, that's not what I want to say.
What you used to spend early on.
Do you feel like I really spent a lot? I think it's just relative to what was coming in.
That's probably relative to what was coming in.
Yeah. And
I don't think you spent.
I'm not like into name brands, and I'm shopping at TJ Maxx, Burlington.
The pennies add up.
The pennies do add up. That's for sure.
The pennies add up.
I do know that.
So
they do add up.
No, you weren't out getting you a Coach and a Dooney Birkin bag.
Exactly.
You weren't doing those types of things.
Spending,
but enough
pennies.
TJ Maxx Fendi bags. Enough off-brand Gucci bags.
Oh my gosh!
With hanging out with Something to Say and her secondhand.
Oh, you're funny.
Gucci bag. Enough of those things can add up.
Assuredly. But
going to the back alleys with the Russians in New York.
Just put it all out there.
We putting it all out there, Going to the hanging out.
We didn't even buy anything on those things.
See, I don't even know what that. Okay,
I went there. I was looking for something.
No Russians have ever approached me to say I sell knockoffs in the alley behind this store. Knock 3 times and say this password.
Follow me. Yes, I don't know if anybody has had that experience where you've gone to the part of New York, I can't think of what it's called now, but you can go there and you can get your knockoff bags, and yes, they do literally. You just kind of
pick you up on the street,
hang out on the street like you're looking for something, and they'll just come up to you with a little laminated sheet that shows some of the things they have on it and be like, hush, hush. Follow me.
This was the perfect I lost my dog moment that I've ever seen. Fortunately, things worked out pretty good. This was the I lost my dog moment.
It was 3 of us. I would never recommend anybody do that. Can you
help me find my dog?
We were grown women. We weren't children. We had our wits about us. We had a plan of how we were going to escape.
Can you help me? Excuse me, little boy. Can you help me find my lost dog?
Just as a side note, our son fell for that. How people are playing those videos now where they are recording their children's responses. But I did that with Nathan several times. And every time he'd be like, but I can't let the dog just be lost. Boy, there is no dog. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Anyway, there were purses. There was just purses everywhere. Nothing we wanted, though.
So my point is, not that you spent a lot, but in the early days, you bought you almost trinket shop, a little bit more than trinket. You buy stuff. Ooh, this candle looks nice. Ooh, this looks nice.
We were trying to make a home. With this candle in the middle of the table.
Okay.
So, let me tell you this little candle story.
She gonna tell you.
He got me this way.
I'm not even.
He led me to this story. So, after we had that discussion about money and how I was spending too much of it, I saw, I did, totally tone down. Even though he said I never use money against you, his points are valid. You gotta be, good with your money. You gotta be a good steward with your money. And So I was at a spot. They had this gorgeous 3-wick candle in a wrought iron frame and a glass bowl. It was beautiful. It was a store called Kirkland's or something like that. They sold all these home goods for at, Burlington Coat Factory type prices. So I buy this candle. And I'm like,
pay attention. This is when it gets good. This is when it gets good.
Those wives who would buy stuff and then only bring it out like weeks later. It's like I've been had this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I left the candle in the trunk in the 90+ degree weather of North Carolina. And somehow it got on a tilt. It melted, it got on a tilt, and then it reset. So I don't know what happened, if I was driving it around. I don't even remember how long I had it in the car. But it wasn't a terribly long time. Go back to get the candle out, and the joint has set in this very ugly, not at all the way the candle is supposed to look. And the person I am today would have just taken that back to the store, like, I opened this candle, look. Or just, take it back, whatever, and get my money. But I just tried to leave it out there in the heat, like... Maybe I can get it to remelt again and then I can set it back properly. But that thing just never melted again. I'm just like, I don't know what is the circumstance that it melted. Maybe the parking spot I chose or whatever.
The point is, she getting into a random point. The point was she hid the candle in the trunk. She hid the candle in the trunk and it ruined the candle. Hiding the candle from me, not wanting me to see that she had purchased this candle.
Yes.
That's the take home point. So that's the type of shopping she was doing early on. But we work it out.
The tightness with which we were on our money, because it was a candle. I should have just brought that joint in the house. It probably was $25. Probably was. I know it was not $50. Should have just brought that joint in the house and said, deal with it.
Deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with it.
And that's what I learned to do. That was the last thing I hid in the truck.
Deal with it.
That was the last thing. But anyway.
If you woman enough to buy it.
That's right. And I'm about to, I am woman, hear me roar. I think that some of my expectations were unspoken because I really didn't know what it was that I wanted or expected out of a husband. And it's not because I didn't have expectations. It's because, I just hadn't considered that that there could be expectations that would not be met. So I really had to get in touch with myself and figure out, what is it that I want? Those questions about affection and things and words of affirmation that we talked about before. I had to self-reflect and be introspective and figure out what it was I wanted so that I could tell you, instead of, like what people might do. You find and a clue might be, if you find yourself upset with your spouse for something that they didn't do or didn't say or did or said, and you not quite sure why, it's probably because you have some unspoken expectation that you need to get in touch with and relay to your spouse. Because they're not mind readers. And just because you grew up a certain way doesn't mean that they grew up that way or seeing that, or that, that there's some certain set of things that everybody knows, because as we figured out all along the way, there really isn't. There's almost nothing you can assume. You got to verbalize.
You got to verbalize, because every relationship is different. And I mean, I'm talking, no matter what person that you're dealing with at any level, if you're dealing with other people at the same level, or you've dealt with other people at the same level, doesn't make the relationship's the same. The only common denominator is you. It's not the other person. It's you. So, if things fall out a particular way, if things, start to move in a particular way, we tend to attribute that to the other person and not necessarily to ourselves.
Right.
So
Right. How could they?
Right. You just, my last girlfriend did this, and now you starting to do the same things, and you
okay, in a negative way.
And it doesn't even have to be negative or positive. It's just she did this, and now you do them too. Because usually you notice the negative. You don't, you're happy with the positives,
right.
But you notice the negatives, and you never think, "Is it me?" That's what 9 out of these 10 shows that we see for podcasts is them projecting is them talking about accountability. And they are pigeonholing it to say women are typically accountable, but I would go one step further and say we typically, as individuals, don't always hold ourselves to account for our role or our contribution to the situation.
Things going wrong, right?
So,
it's easier to be like they.
Right, I'm teasing you about.
They said that.
I'm teasing you about the shopping thing, but I could have just as easily, and once we finally sat down and did it, where we said, this is what I expect. This is what I would like. And we kind of come to some type of contractual agreement, if you want to call it that. It's not really, but it's just a mutual understanding. How about that? We call it a mutual understanding that we come to, that this is how we're going to move. And that mutual understanding is not even truly, it's not even fixed. Because at any point and at any time, you can say, I need to change it. And, I need this or I need that because something has changed in my life and I need to behave a particular way. And so you just got to be, but both of you have to be willing to have those conversations. Yeah,
all along the way, truly, because things you want change.
Correct.
A woman's body changes. Just, your goals for what you want to achieve change.
Right.
You want to change jobs. You want to live someplace else. And so whatever contract you enter into
is fluid.
At day whatever, 26, may not be the same at day 1026. Or
it won't be the same at day 2. But the variation may not be enough for you to say nothing until day 6. But it is all
you got to keep checking
a hope and a prayer.
You got to keep checking in. Yeah, something we say in the book is how often we, if we notice something just the slightest bit off with the other person, it's like, are you okay? Are we okay? You got to do those check-ins for sure. I think, one example of a misplaced expectation.
Okay.
That has a little bit of a twist on it for me was my birthday story. Where, I didn't feel it was a misplaced expectation because you had always done so well with planning birthday surprises for me or gifts or thoughts or, whatever. You were like, what do you want for your birthday? And I said nothing. Thinking, I don't want anything specific that I want to ask you for. So whatever you want to get me is fine. In my mind, that's what I think I'm relaying, or what I intend to relay by my nothing. But what you heard was what I said, which was nothing. So my man here actually got me nothing for my birthday that year. And not only did he not give me anything for my birthday, but we went and picked himself up a computer or a monitor or something electronic at your favorite electronics store.
Micro Center.
Yes. And I didn't want to go into the Micro Center, and I sat in the car steaming about, this is my birthday and nothing's happening. Now, you didn't recognize my birthday. You said happy birthday in the morning. I think you had some cards from you and the kids. But then, by about noon, all right, we move it on. Birthday done. Birthday had well celebrated. Yeah. So no, this is not me trying to start anything at all. I said nothing. But in my mind, I had the expectation that he must be just asking me if I want something specific for my birthday, because he already has something in mind that he's going to get me. He just want to make sure it matches, or he needs to add on or whatever. This is all the things I'm thinking that were completely untrue. I said nothing out of my mouth. Lesson learned. I will never say that again. I know you have said lesson learned no matter what I say.
Right. I stopped listening to you. So let me give you my interpretation of that. I know the story. Now I know what you're talking about in more detail. Okay. Let me give you my interpretation. So October the 20th. No. Sometime late October, early November. I can't think of when it was, because we're in lockdown right now in COVID.
Right.
So we get COVID.
Yes.
We get OG COVID.
The original, prior to any vaccinations, nobody knew what to do with it. COVID.
Right. So actually, I think it's early November. I think we get it. Nathan comes home. Yep, that's exactly when. Moni gets sick on Friday before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Nathan is sick on the Monday of Thanksgiving. You and I are sick that Wednesday. And then the whole house is down.
The whole house is down, and we...
Right.
And my birthday is at the beginning of December, for people who don't know.
So we get the 14, the heavy 14
the thing
days.
That's got you down and out. We were down and out. We were everything except admitted to a hospital.
Everything was admitted to the hospital. And Yalonda even went to the hospital once.
I even had to go to the hospital. One of my friends sent me an oximeter. She's a doctor friend. She sent me a pulse oximeter to check our pulse. She was like, y'all need, to check your oxygenation level.
Because it was
because this was how serious COVID was.
It was pretty serious for us. So we come out of COVID. We come out of this thing, somewhere around the very end of November.
Yes.
Early first week of December.
Yes.
So her birthday being the 9th.
Yes.
I'm not sure when you thought I had all of this planning done. Basically coming back from the dead, which is what we were,
Valid point.
I don't know.
Valid point.
So when I ask you what you want to do for your birthday, it's because I haven't had a chance to do anything because we've been down.
Sick. Yes.
So
this is true.
When you say nothing, I say, okay, I'll go and grab a couple of cards, get the kids to sign the cards. I'll sign my card. When she wakes up in the morning, we'll greet her with this happy birthday. And then we will move on. And it wasn't even my thought in my mind wasn't that we'll move on. It was that, okay, we've acknowledged her. We have given her some cards. I'm not sure what there is left to do. And I think we had to go to the Micro Center because of the streaming computer, I think. Or I can't remember what we needed. But I do know that we went.
Even though you didn't have time to think about or plan for my birthday, you did have time to go online and shop at Micro Center.
I didn't go online and shop.
Whatever you did.
I knew what I need. I know what I need, just like you know what you need. I know what I need.
My point is, it's not like, we probably had been well for about a week at this point.
I wouldn't say we've been well for any more than 3 or 4 or 5 days. So a week is fine. Okay.
Whatever the case. The point is,
and well is relative.
Yes, well is relative. Like, I think
because we didn't have we've often said we didn't actually have a normal day until like the 15th.
It was super, right. It was much closer to Christmas by the time
we
actually felt like, okay, we're back. Fine.
Right.
Yeah, because we could get up and move around, and then 3 or 4 hours later, you're like,
down
okay,
again.
I'm done.
You're down again.
But, we were going to stream. It did have something to do with you streaming either that day or the very next day you were going to be streaming. So that's where your mind was. And, that's the part that hurt my feelings the most was when we pulled up into that Micro Center. And you didn't even have a clue as to why I was upset.
But I told you this is where we're going. I mean, I'm talking the whole time.
No, but you have done things where you surprised me, where you lied to me and said we're doing
so
this.
That one
and
time,
we do something
that
else.
one time.
That's not one time. You do like to surprise me. Like we'll go with that time we went up to and met the Wrights, kind of in between Delaware and Maryland.
For dinner.
The time we went to Atlantic City. And
so we had 2 times.
We had 3 times now.
Went to Atlantic City? Was it for your birthday?
But it wasn't for my birthday, but you did surprise me with company in Atlantic City. That was
the Wrights
during
as well?
COVID too. And it was the Wrights, yes.
That was
one of my favorite couples to hang out with.
Yes. Okay. So
but anyway, that's the point is all of these things are going through my mind and not coming out of my mouth. That's what I want to say to the people is that you got to say the things, you got to express the things out of your mouth and not make assumptions, even when those assumptions can be rooted in things that have happened before. That was my only point of bringing this up, because I wouldn't have had those assumptions early in our marriage where there wasn't a history. There, you had kind of set up a history of you're, a great gift giver. You like to surprise.
That's fair.
Et cetera, et cetera. And so that's why I was thinking what I was thinking. But the point is, even in those type of situations, you still need to put voice to your expectations.
So that's fair.
Yes.
That's fair. So hopefully there won't be any more pandemics that hit us right around your birthday. So that I won't get distracted. I won't get distracted by
blame it on the pandemic.
The fate of the world and knocking on death's door.
You can't blame that on the pandemic and also have something that you want to go out and get. So your mind was somewhere that was not on the pandemic or on the fate of the world, but it wasn't on my birthday.
It wasn't on your birthday. It wasn't on your birthday.
So where are we for time? There's more things I wrote down for us to say, but I feel good about where we are.
So quick recap. We talked about expectations around money and how we manage those things.
Yes.
How we manage them. So, but with the key being, we had to come to whatever was going to be our agreement. And
all of you out there, you got to come to whatever. You got to have those conversations about money.
Yeah.
And the person who is the spender in the relationship, because it seems to always be right. If you both spenders, y'all in trouble.
Y'all need a third party. If you're both spenders, you need a third party.
Pull in a financial planner to help you out.
Sister, wife.
If you both cheat and don't spend, good savers, I guess you win. Win-win.
Whatever you need.
Might not have as much. You still have to work out, how much, what percentage goes into savings.
Right.
Clarence does, he buys stocks with, I guess that's kind of your play money. You don't buy things, but you buy stocks. And it's an investment for our family.
$50 a month.
Oh, my gosh.
$50 a month is how much that is. Now, it's been $50 a month for about 15 years.
It probably could go up.
No, it's fine.
But you good.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
No, I mean, my point is not the amount. Yeah. It's just that
Tesla has done me well. I know we don't like Elon.
Of Elon Musk.
But
okay. I don't know. Watch it because apparently there are lots of unsold Teslas.
I'm way down in my.
You've already sold quite a bit. Yeah.
I've sold quite a bit. So,
but we made money.
we see how it became see how my investment money came. I heard this guy say, just as an aside, I heard this guy say on one of those podcasts, I heard a woman say, if I make $75,000 a year and you make $75,000 a year, then we make $75,000 a year and I make $75,000 a year. So basically, her money is her money. Right. Your money is our money.
I've heard that said so often. And if any woman came to me with, asking me for my advice, I'm about to go, thinking about becoming serious, and this is what I want to happen, I would really have to sit her down and be like, sis, what do you mean? Let me be honest. I think it's an unrealistic expectation because it's 2024 and a household cannot, a household needs two incomes, almost period, unless your man is making 500,000, and then that's also going to depend on the choices you make. Okay, well, if we living off of my money, then that means this is the neighborhood we can live in. This is the size house we can have.
Right.
This is the cars we can have.
Right.
Sure, let's live off my money, and you can do whatever you want with your money, but we gonna live within my means then.
Right. So, what I was going to say was, it gets back to the contract.
Yeah.
Whatever, the parameters that you set up for your relationship are the parameters that you set up.
Yeah.
And, as a man or as the primary breadwinner, you have to be able to say those types of things. Say, we can't live this way if we're going to live this way.
Right. If the money is going to fall out like this, then I am deciding, it's going to be based on math, but I'm deciding, that to live within my means
absolutely
means X, Y, Z. And she has to be willing to say, oh, okay. So the luxury items that she wants, she's probably going to have to get herself. If you want $100 nails every 2 weeks, or you want $400 hair weave going down your back, you're going to probably have to do those things with your money.
But it's going, but personally, it ain't going to last.
True. I agree. I agree. Hopefully,
it wouldn't last.
Yes. Hopefully people are having those conversations before they ever exchange a ring.
Right.
Because you got to get the deal breakers out of the way.
Right.
And if for you, that's a deal breaker, and you need to say that as soon as when you're getting to those serious moments. Some people might even do it if you're very intentional with your dating. You're like, I'm only dating to get to a long-term relationship. Then you got to say it even earlier than that. Put those deal breakers out there off top.
Well, yeah.
So people can decide and just move on, and don't act like the person is such a terrible person because their expectations are different from yours. They're just different. They're not worse. They're not obviously there are things that are worse, but
they're just,
speaking of reasonable people,
uncommon, just and
right. It might be
extreme.
True.
Those are what I would call those types of expectations. They're a bit extreme, but no more extreme than I want to marry a woman who's going to be a housewife. Right.
No more extreme than I want you home. I want you cooking, cleaning, and having my babies.
Right. So everybody can have.
Maybe those two people can find each other.
They can't. They can't, because she ain't gonna have no money. He not gonna let her work. So they are polar opposites. So then the second thing we talked about was, specifically our example was around Yolonda's birthday expectations, and I say that because it is legitimately a thing. And the real takeaway point for me was learning how important it was to her, because it's not important to me, and she knows this, that it's not important.
And it's almost hard to believe that it's not important because of the level of importance it has to me.
It's not very important. Right, it's not very important to me. So
his birthday,
my birthday, they come and they go, and I don't, very rarely do I think my 40th birthday, I really wanted to do some things.
And it was less because it was your birthday,
and more because it was a milestone.
It was a milestone. You were turning 40.
Right.
He jumped out of a plane, y'all, for his 40th birthday.
Maybe we'll show some video. We showed Nathan at the end of the last video. Maybe we showed some video of this at the end of this one.
Yeah.
But you asked me what I wanted to do for my 50th birthday, and I said nothing.
And I did something anyway because I wanted to do something for your 50th birthday.
So. And I appreciated it and enjoyed it very much. So, shout out to everyone who came to the party. It was a.
He also turned 50 during
COVID, right?
Yeah, so we were outside,
but it was
with masks
several months after this whole birthday incident that we're talking about.
In April, so I had more time. But also, it was 50th, so I was thinking about it, well in advance.
Right. Just like I was thinking about her 50th birthday well in advance.
True that.
But the point is, her birthday is important to her. So understanding...
Birthdays in general are important to me. Let's just say that.
Okay. So birthdays are important to her.
Yes.
So I have, as you can see, I'm still learning, because it has been expanded from my mind from her birthday to all birthdays.
I mean, I know... I only say that to say that the reason my birthday is important to me is because just in general, I have, a birthday is the one day that is for that person, as opposed to Christmas is for everybody. Thanksgiving, all the other holidays are for everybody.
Okay.
But your birthday, unless you have to share it with a sister, because that does happen, is your birthday. And so... and even saying that birthdays are important to me, to acknowledge, it's like I'm out here buying everybody expensive gifts for their birthday either. It's just, I really like to acknowledge people's birthdays. So But
you want more than an acknowledgement for yours. Because your specific example.
I just wanted to be my birthday all day.
All day. Okay.
Yes.
So
the acknowledgement just goes all day. Hey, I'm doing this because it's your birthday. Hey, I'll wait till tomorrow to buy this screen from Micro Center because it's your birthday.
I wish I could remember what it was we bought.
I know it has something to do with streaming.
I
just
so wish I could remember what it was. I so wish I could remember what it was. I don't remember what it was. I think it may have been a computer.
I'm thinking it was a computer too.
Yeah. I'm thinking it was the computer that's down there.
Yeah, the desktop.
Yeah. So
you were going through the list. Was there anything else?
No. I mean, those were the two kind of big things that we talked about, and how our expectations around those two things, how we kind of manage them over the time. What we did with how we deal with money, how we talk about money, and how we manage money in our home, but then also at this point, how we manage your birthday. And it's not anybody else's birthday that gets managed that way, but it's your birthday that gets managed this way.
But I acknowledge your birthday, Nathan's birthday, Simone's birthday all day long.
Okay.
Do I not? But you're not paying attention.
We're not paying attention,
really so it's not important.
So
you
we'll have to ask them how they feel about your acknowledgement of their birthdays. So Nathan, if you get a chance to watch this, put in the comments how you feel like your birthday is acknowledged.
I did just drive up to New Jersey.
Yes, you did,
because we weren't going to see him for his birthday. Yeah.
So. Those are just the kind of the two things that we talked about. And the kind of the take home point from the whole thing was communicate your expectations.
Yeah. Yes. Know what your expectations are. Recognize what they are. And then communicate them.
Right. And don't make the assumption that the person has the same expectations or has the same beliefs as you in those areas.
And sometimes, but this is a whole new point, it may not even come up to your level. Like, you can have expectations, I want this, but you have to ask, as you see the person trying to meet your expectations, but it's still kind of coming up short, you got to ask yourself, is my spouse's version of meeting this expectation, good enough? Do I need to coach them through? Do I need to demonstrate to them? Well, when I say this, I mean this XYZ. So yeah.
I think that's a chapter in the book too, where we talk about they may never get to your point. They may never get to the level that you want.
And you have to ask yourself, is what they are doing good enough?
Right.
Or come close enough that you're not going to be walking around feeling some type of way all the time.
And I use this example in the conversations with you before. If a person is scoring 35 on the test, and then they study hard and they get to 65, and as opposed to a person who has 65 and they study hard and they get to 75, the person who had 30 has actually learned more. They
than what they came in with.
So
certainly
doesn't mean that they're not, but they're still not passing the class, but they have learned more. So or brought their level up more. Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't grade that way. But the point is to take the victories in those things, because a person who doesn't do these things, if they do them and then one time they miss it, you gotta
have some grace for your spouse. If you, especially like you're saying, if you see them putting in the effort, asking questions, checking in. Give them some grace.
Right. So,
and weigh it against all the other things that you're getting.
Yes.
Because sometimes the other things that you're getting, a man who is going to manage the bills and invest in Tesla stock and do the dishes and the laundry. I mean, I got over that birthday.
You did not get over that birthday. You did not get over that birthday, but that's fine.
What do you mean? What's the definition of not getting over it?
Oh no, I mean, you certainly got over it in the sense that you came to me and said, I would like my birthday to be celebrated all day.
Right.
And I said, I thought we celebrated your birthday today.
Right.
This morning. Right. And you said,
that's not.
I want all 24 hours to be my birthday. I want
you to be in your sleep, like
birthday.
Some Elmo birthday song in your sleep.
So anyway, that's where we are. All right, on to housekeeping.
Yes,
on to housekeeping. So we have been tallying up the contest points. We haven't gotten them all tallied up, but so far, RP Durham is in the lead.
Yes,
and y'all gotta
on YouTube.
On YouTube,
we haven't tallied IG yet.
She in the lead at this point. So we got, you guys got to get busy commenting so that you can get yourself a copy of author Javonda's books. This is the latest one, Onyx Desires. We're putting this packet together, so make sure that you guys like and subscribe and comment on the videos and on the reels that we put out. We're tallying those things up to get to give people a prize pack at the end of the month. So you have, I guess, 2 or 3 more weeks. Yeah. Oh, we missing an episode next week. We're not going to be on next week. We're not recording. We got something we got to do.
We'll be traveling over next weekend.
So we won't be no episode next week. Yeah. But we'll be back the week after that.
All right. So
if you want to pick up your own copies of this book, you can go to author Javonda Robinson.com and check out her website. So I guess that's it.
Yeah. Make sure you tune in on Sunday nights to twitch.tv/DJ C# for Yo-Yo Baby and DJ C# in the basement with slow jams and conversation. I really think that you would enjoy hanging out with us.
Yes.
Just, historically, that's pretty much been the case. People enjoy hanging out with us.
Yes.
So come on through while you're getting ready. You're winding down, getting ready for the week.
Yep.
That was 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep. That works. So again, this has been a much lighter episode than we've had in the past couple of weeks, but I think it's informative. I think these are solid points and solid things that we've worked our way through. We have figured these things out as of now. As of this moment.
2:01 a.m.
Yes, as of this
June
moment.
16th.
Like I said, the contract is fluid. The contract is fluid.
It's fluid, very fluid.
Contract is fluid.
Pencil.
So, with our signature closing, you've heard us talk about how we have found our rhythm. We hope you can use that to find yours.
So that you can live by the rhythm and love by the rhythm.
God bless you.
Good night. Good day.
Good afternoon, whatever it is you're doing. We hope you've enjoyed another exciting episode of Rhythm of Love, the podcast, hosted by Clarence and Yalonda Lewis.
Theme song by Kendra R.
Book graphics by Rihanna Denise.
More information is available at cYLentertainment.com.
Please join us on Sunday nights for our live stream on twitch.tv/DJC Sharp.